Good morning, my lovelies. I just wanted to bring you this next part in my morning routine because lots of people have been asking about what I do to just be so productive. And I really do believe, and I know a lot of other people say this, is that if you get a morning routine down so that you know exactly what you're doing in the morning and you can stick to it, if it's a program that works for you, there are no rights and no wrongs, but it's got to be what works for you as an individual, then the rest of the day is kind of set up and just works really, really well. So I spoke to you recently about my gratitude practice, and then I spoke to you recently about cold showers. If you haven't seen those yet, go check back on those videos as well. But the next part that I wanted to bring you was, well, let me give you a clue. Here we go. This one, this is my morning tea. Now, it's not just any old cup of cha, as you can probably imagine. This is a very special routine that I picked up when I lived in Southeast Asia many, many years ago. I became a devoted tea drinker then. And as a consequence, it's always stood me in good stead. So the particular tea that I drink in the morning, it's called Oolong, and I'll show you. This is one that I got recently. I just bought this online. Now, this one is actually the Guan Yin, Iron Goddess of Mercy, or Kuan Yin, as she's sometimes known. So let's see if you can just see that. The Guan Yin, Iron Goddess of Mercy. She's my home girl, Kuan Yin. She is just a very, very special goddess, deity, or bodhisattva. She's not exactly a Buddha, but she's the goddess of kindness and compassion and mercy. So that's where she's coming from. And the reason, her story, is that she said that she wasn't going to accept becoming a Buddha or becoming fully, completely transitioning and just getting off the wheel of endless rebirth and death and rebirth until every single soul, every sentient being had achieved enlightenment. So that's why she's linked with kindness and compassion. And the model of Kuan Yin is she's usually seen standing up on a lotus, and she's usually pouring some liquid, some fluid, and this is actually deemed to be the liquid of kindness and compassion that she's spreading all over the world. So she's such a beautiful, the legend of Kuan Yin is so beautiful. She's such a beautiful deity. So she's kind of somebody that I really just love to have in my life. So this particular tea really resonates for me. Now, Oolong is a very interesting kind of tea because in research, they've discovered that you don't have sleeplessness with Oolong tea, but it can actually really enhance weight loss, particularly weight loss around the middle. As you know, I talk about belly fat quite a lot, not from a position of judging it or being negative about it, from an aesthetic position, but actually I am negative about it from a health perspective, because what we know about abdominal fat and visceral fat, that fat that we find around our internal organs, is actually one of the sources of inflammation, because one of the most pro-inflammatory cytokines or messenger molecules that really upregulates our production of an inflammatory response is called IL-6, interleukin 6, and the majority of this is actually made in our visceral fat and belly fat. So this fat is not an inert substance, it is a potentially toxic substance. So that's why we've got to think about what we can do, strategies we can do to reduce our belly fat. So drinking Oolong tea is one of these strategies. So how does Oolong come? What does it look like, and so on? Well, I'll show you in just a sec. What I do though, if I can explain exactly how I do this tea ritual in the morning, is that I do my gratitude practices first, and I'll jump out of bed and I will go and make my tea immediately. Okay, and I will then I let it cool down, I will drink it, and then I will meditate for 20 minutes, because there is some caffeine in the tea, absolutely, you know, that is granted. It is somewhat mediated by the L-theanine and other chemicals in the tea, so you don't get jitters with this kind of tea. Similarly with green tea and white tea, you won't get jitters as such, because it is all of that, it's sort of jitteriness is the edges taken off with everything else that's in the tea. But as I say, with oolong tea, it's been shown in research to reduce belly fat and promote weight loss in a healthy way. So that's not just general weight loss, because obviously what we're always going for within my philosophy and you know, everything I spoke about in my best-selling book Rewind Your Body Clock, is that we aren't just looking for weight loss, we're looking for better body composition. So essentially we're looking for more muscle and less fat. So that's actually a really important thing to remember. So I don't go by scales, I go about how clothes fit and how much of an inch I can actually pinch and things like that. So anyway, what happens is that if you go away and do your meditation, the tea will keep you focused, really, really well focused. So you'll be able to meditate like a really old school Buddhist monk and actually really focus without kind of being all over the place, as would happen if you'd had coffee, for example. And then the energizing side of, or the energizing effect of this particular oolong tea really starts to kick in after about 20 minutes. So you've sat, you've done your meditation for 20 minutes, and in the next video I will tell you about the kind of meditation I do and why, because as you know, I'm a great self-experimenter, but there's always a scientific reason for why I do what I do and why I tell you what I tell you about. So anyway, how do we make this magical tea, this amazing magical tea? Well, look, it looks a bit uninspiring when you first sort of get it. This is from my little portable tea caddy. It's so cute, and I'll show you that another day, because this is going to be long enough as it is. So here we go. If you can see there, that is oolong. Now, I don't know if you can see as I move it around, little tiny, whoops, little tea goes everywhere, little tiny lumps of tea, which look a bit, yeah, not terribly attractive. But what actually happens is that these little tiny lumps, let's see if I can get one out for you, these little lumps are actually entire tea leaves. There you go. Yes, that's it. That's an entire furled up tea leaf. And when you put them into your tea, they open up. Have you ever seen those beautiful flowers that you pop into tea and you put the hot water on and they open up and they start to bloom? Well, these are kind of like that, but they're not flowers, they're leaves. It's quite remarkable. So what I do is I'll put a teaspoonful, a flat teaspoonful. You don't want too much oolong, because otherwise it can sometimes, it does contain tannins, and for some people it can make them feel a little bit sick if they're not used to it. So you've just got to be just a little bit careful. Start off small and work your way up. Oolong is a very perfumed tea. It's not like builder's tea. Don't expect that you're going to get, whoa, massive taste and so on. In actual fact, in real Blue Peter style, here's one I made earlier. It's kind of flowery, not like a jasmine tea, but it's got slight hint of jasmine. It's got that real scent of, if you've ever been in Southeast Asia and the sun's going down and all of the night scented flowers are just starting to disperse their scent on the winds, on the breeze. That's what it smells like. It's that faint, you can't quite put your finger on it, but you know it's floral. So it's actually really lovely. The other thing you've got to make sure of when you're making oolong is that you boil your water first and then you let it cool. I think the recommendation is, yes, it's 90 degrees centigrade, 195 Fahrenheit. And so they say 1 to 1.5 teaspoons, that's after you've worked up to it, for about 200 ml of water. So just judge it and really just go by taste and so on, but don't expect massive big taste. It's not coffee that we're drinking here. It's not, as I say, a cup of builder's tea. This is very, very subtle. But my goodness, apart from the subtlety of it, you've got to really accept that the chemicals within the tea, the phytochemicals, the phytonutrients, dare I say, are actually active. They are doing a lot of good. So I hope that helps. What I will show you next time is, not next time, no, the next video I'll make for you, I will talk about the meditation practice that I do and why, again, the scientific reasons why, the research, what the research says and why it's beneficial for us. Hint, it moderates our sleep, it moderates our body muscle to fat ratio, modulates hormonal expression, helps with things like menopausal symptoms and so on. It seems amazing that just sitting and meditating can do all that and more. So stick with me, and the next video I shall talk to you all about that. I hope this has been helpful, and please let me know if there's anything that I've missed out, anything else you'd like to know. It's always my pleasure, and I shall see you soon. Lots of love to you. Bye-bye.